would like to extend my hearty thanks to Dr. S.R. Bhatt, who is doing work for not only the national level but international level. So thank you for everyone to be in this very August seminar as well as in a very holy place. So I am starting from, since yesterday there has been talks starting from the Sat-Chit-Ananda, but I am starting from the ignorance and reach up to the Sat-Chit-Ananda. So okay, as our past life karma is seated in Chitna, a person with certain sanskara always instigate or always excite ego, mana, and self-action, which Western call it free will, and they make a kind of decision, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, and that goes to the mundane world. But this ego, mana, and self-actions are very, very dynamic. Therefore, it is turbulent, unstable, flickering, cyclic, and conditional. Therefore, this complex is termed as slippery juncture. And but instead of really moved by this kind of ingredient, psychic ingredient, if we go stand strong in the slippery junction without contamination of these ingredients, meaning to say ego, mana, and self-actions, and dissolving oneself into the cosmic reality or divinity, being undivided, is moksha or nirvana. Now, amidst the slippery zone where we do get fall, there is a fall we get unconsciously. Among many sources, there is a point from where we choose fall in place of rising against the excessive because of the deceptive nature of ignorance. This fall is not by others but by our own choice, our own ignorance, I should say. Now, in order to detect the falling point, let us utilize production function and marginal utility function of economics. This first graph says about the input-output relationship, in which as the input rate increases, then output will be also increases. In the first phase, there will be increasing rate. In second phase, it is increasing at decreasing rate. And third stage, it is decreasing at the decreasing rate. And with regard to utility, of course there will be increase in the total utility, but there is continuous diminishing marginal utility, and finally it goes to negative. Now let me bring you to the how one of the example how excess alcohol or drug use lead the weakness of our nerves and where we fall. Now, regarding this picture, this is the bilipid layer of the cell membrane, in which when it is alcohol, then the receptor will get some kind of stimulation by which there will be intoxication. Similarly, in case of dopamine also, there is intron and axon of nerves, and in which receptor cells are there, and in which the physiologically increased alcohol level affects the inhibitory neurotransmitter GABA aminobutyric acid in the brain, is sitting in the GABA receptor site, which I already mentioned in the picture. The causes for the intoxication with sluggish movement and the impaired speech. Stephen Bourne, scientist and author of the book, said, "It is not the time to make the important decisions when there is a intoxication." Similarly, in case of drug addicts, the brain starts to adjust the source of the tranquilizer dopamine. With repeated use of the drug, neurons may begin to reduce the number of dopamine receptors or simply make the less dopamine. Because of the low level of the dopamine, it encourages the brain to repeat the pleasurable activity of dopamine by taking the drugs again and again. That is why the intoxication goes. Now, the excess utilization of after reaching the upper third limit of the first zone, consuming tendency appeals to expand the ongoing desires that further gives a feeling that it should not be resisted, but in fact it is offering negative effects. When really it is giving the negative effect, in that very time we start taking the furthermore effects. As the first zone is no clear-cut demarcation which rings the bell of our alarm, Hence, entrance is automatic into the second zone despite the decreased result. Therefore, we term is the deceptive zone. The third zone pushes the individual towards the brink to the extent that it finally makes the habit of or vasana. Then it starts to offer the devastating result like fatality. Hence, we term it devastating zone equivalent to the third zone, third stage of the production function theory of economics. Finally, it leads to the fallen state. Okay, now with this phenomena, it can be, we can go. Okay, now the same model can be correlated to explain the ego about which we are talking. Now I am trying to correlate with the ego. The ego identification trigger, I mean, let's see this picture. This is the, this pointer is not working, but let me show you. The front point, there is a brain and there is a adrenal gland and there is the nerve system is there. In second picture, there are the brain vibration which goes all around body, and alpha and beta are more stressful, whereas alpha, theta, and gamma are all very, very smooth and they are very tranquil. The ego identification trigger a kind of alertness to the body system. The hypothalamus releases adrenocortical hormone into the blood system and stimulates adrenaline production. The adrenaline or epinephrine is a crucial part of the body for fight and flight response. It affects both the sympathetic nerves and adrenal gland, and consequently electrical impulses are carried throughout the body. Penny Pierce, the authors of The Frequency of Power or Personal Vibration, describes if we let our ego with the adrenaline rush, then we become not only our true self. With more adrenaline in the blood, the brain rush wave move towards the stressful frequency in the body, beta to gamma side, and away from the amplitude of alpha, theta. Pierce describes the characteristics of lower amplitude as your brain moves slow further from the alpha to theta, you find your understanding about the nature of your inner self. The ego begins to die and replaced by the oneness, whereas reverse is the scenario when there is excessive ego. So, at least now, if we see the ego or anything, any other kind of things, the application of above model in other cases of challenge, the above model can be applied to vast cases of negative emotions like jealousy, hatred, anger, dominance, greediness, as well as mundane positive emotions like love, sympathy in our day-to-day life. Also, this model can be applied in the cases of excessive sentiment, desire, and most of the day-to-day life. As those properties are attached in every section of life, it is therefore greatest challenge to the spirituality to be out of them, because we have been dipped into the ocean of the rules, laws, materialistic education, materialistic science, materialistic politics, tradition, values, family, society, culture, history, nation, mind, whatsoever of that exists in the samsara. Now, in order to become free from all the contaminations, we can have the two strategy for the general purpose and for the moksha purpose. For the general purpose, we may like to keep a certain upper mark of our activities or objectives, beyond which we may like to forbid to go ahead. Because reaching the mark, if we can be aware of that, we should not proceed ahead then. That is our alertness. How can we have the alertness? That is a question. Before our excessiveness in our kind, in any kind of those behavioral activities, in our thinking, our egos, mana, buddhi, chitta, all. So this we need to elevate our willpower to the extent that we do not stagger from the slippery position. Slippery position is right within us. It is not the different religions and other one person to another one. It is deceived by within us, because the more, this is the point where we need to be alert, it is the point that there used to be intoxication. So, but moksha purpose, the chitta, the ego, mana and self actions or free will should be erased or removed, so that our chitta now becomes chit, and now we may have the experience of the Sat-Chit-Ananda in that case. So this kind of package, but minimum at least we can afford this first package in which at least we will be restricted from our excessiveness of any our behavioral attitude. It is therefore the sensibility of the combined effort of the Dharma and Dhamma is needed. Since I am not my background is not the philosophy, but nevertheless I am touching a little bit part of the spirituality. General principle of Sanatana Hindu Dharma and Buddha Dharma are the same. Let us compare. Maybe I am touching here by the Sanatana Hindu and Buddhism, but maybe also Jainism and other religion also. In case of Sanatana Dharma, these are some fundamental parts which are very strongly existed, like monotheism, polytheism exist within the assembly of single source of consciousness, Chaitanya or Parabrahma. They advocate strongly about the non-duality. The path, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga and Karma Yoga, along with the Tantra, may be different, but the destination is the same. Sansara, sensory organ, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, all are illusionary as well as temporary. Divine powers hidden within each human being as well as in all creatures, all of them can merge into one Parabrahma. Hence they used to call it Ekoham Ditya Nasti. To escape from the birth and death cycle, one has to go moksha, reducing burden of the karma at the zero level. Now in case of Buddhism, Heart Sutra speaks about the going to emptiness, sunyata, while the Sound Sutra tells about the returning from the emptiness. So while returning, there is some kind of asset that has been collected. That means that is not zero. Lotus Sutra tells us the first vehicle is the listening to the sermon, second is, so there are different parts, but they also say that all can be merged into one. Buddhism also says that the samsaric satya is temporary and illusionary. Buddha was sure about the hidden divine power within each being, hence he taught to become apodipo bhava. All sutra says that the birth and death cycle can be broken if a flame of the desire or karmic burden is reduced to zero. Now I am almost nearing to the end of my presentation. Now theory and practice of dilemma of Sanatana Dharma. Well, while Sanatana Dharma being a very distinguished and a foundation for all religions, but there are, unfortunately with time, some, I don't want to offend the people, but therefore I am specifically marking the some priests and pandit later started to lay poor attention on the deep sadhana, mainly dhyan practice, the practice which Lord Shiva always adopted. Rather, lone epistemological argument with eloquence led to have the more attraction to the mundane world with the higher level of ego, preventing from the self or inner realization. Besides, the Tamasic Tantra, which offer blood to deities and eat meat in the name of prasada, ruined real image of the Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Seeing declining trend, maybe I am trying to converse these two stream of the wisdom. Seeing the declining trend of the Lord Buddha revealed path of the Sat-Chit-Ananda or Nirvana, enforcing the Dhyan Yoga, mainly Dhyan Yoga, by reaching to the Samadhi. While the other hand, only adopting Dhyan, Karmakanda, Dhyan or Karmakanda by the followers without application of Gyan or Bhakti or Karma Yoga would stagger at any time. This can be seen when we take the example of the defeat of the monk guru Dharmakirti by Kumaril Bhatta and defeat of Mundan Mishra by Adi Shankaracharya. So we have to have the all kind of understanding, but one may have the one single path, but our respect cannot go to the others. So it is at the end, in the epistemological and practical application of Dharma and Dham will protect from being staggered in the slippery juncture that I initially mentioned. It is really deceptive. It is very, we try to maintain it, but we ourselves fall at any time. So how we can apply ourselves, that's the important thing. Slippery junction or spirituality, so that one can stand strong and change. Chances of slippage are minimized or reduced to zero. The sincere and definite door for enlightenment, moksha, is open because of their combined effort. There and all the paths of the Sanatana Dharma, Dhyan, Bhakti, Gyan and Karma Yoga. And even our religions also get inspiration and confidence to realize that all are finally wing of the same Dharma. Even other Dharma, I am trying to mention to Christianity, Muslims and Jews, they also appreciate finally Sanatana Dharma because they are not a different part other than the Sanatana Dharma also, and there can be possibility of unity of all Dharma also. Thank you.